Water is the source of all global life. We are taught that fresh water is our most precious resource. With global droughts rising, the idea of turning all seawater into fresh water sounds like a miracle. But what if this miracle actually happened? What if the world's oceans instantly lost all of their salt? Within the very first 60 seconds, the ultimate environmental paradox would begin. A massive chain reaction controlled by basic chemistry would alter the globe beyond recognition. Global ocean currents would permanently freeze, massive ecosystems would rot, and the air supply would vanish. Humanity would soon realize that the salt in our seas was the only anchor keeping our civilization alive. Official environmental models conceal a grim reality about oceanic balance, a truth that completely refutes standard political narratives about global resources. Today, you will see the exact chronological timeline of a planet turning sweet, and why it leads to the ultimate global winter. To fully comprehend the disaster, we must understand what salt actually does to water density. Salinity is the primary engine behind the global ocean conveyor belt. Cold, salty water is heavy, causing it to sink to the deep ocean floor at the poles. This displacement forces warm water from the equator to rush northward. The moment the salt content drops to zero, the Gulf Stream stops. Without the warm currents, Northern Europe and North America enter an immediate, irreversible ice age. Fresh water freezes much faster. Within 48 hours, the northern maritime trade routes are entirely blocked by solid ice, cutting off global logistics. Coastal cities become locked in ice, trapped in a geographic cage within days. But the thermodynamic shift is nothing compared to the biological mass execution inside the water. Marine biology relies on a delicate internal balance. Oceanic life cannot survive in freshwater. Their cells absorb too much water and literally explode, eradicating 99% of marine wildlife. Billions of tons of biomass die simultaneously, creating a global sanitation catastrophe. The oceans become a massive silent graveyard. But the ultimate threat is now rising from the dead surface into the very air we breathe. Step 3. The suffocation of the atmosphere. Biologists know that up to 70% of Earth's oxygen is produced by marine phytoplankton. Lacking the specific salinity, these organisms vanish entirely within 1 week. The planet's primary oxygen engine stops. The atmospheric depletion cycle begins. As existing oxygen reserves drop, carbon dioxide levels spike aggressively, triggering cellular starvation. Cities would face immediate air rationing protocols as oxygen levels drop below 15%. The decomposition of billions of dead marine animals releases massive amounts of lethal hydrogen sulfide. A foul, toxic fog rolls into continental interiors, turning coastal regions into absolute dead zones where breathing is instantly fatal. Simultaneously, the absence of salt alters global evaporation rates. Fresh water evaporates much faster, changing the moisture levels in the sky. The atmosphere becomes unstable, generating hyper-extreme global rainstorms. Continents face historic floods while the air grows increasingly toxic. Infrastructure collapses under the weight of flash flooding. Massive cruise ships are carried miles inland by historic tidal waves, resting in city centers. Human civilization enters a phase of fragmented survival as networks fail. The biological and chemical shifts reach their critical tipping point, and the true timeline of a dying planet enters its darkest chapter yet. A world without salt is a world without a future. And the worst part? The continental shift hasn't even begun. Step 4. The awakening of the Earth's crust. Salt water acts as a heavy, stabilizing pressure blanket on the ocean floor. With billions of tons of salt dissolved, seawater density exerts a constant, massive weight on the planet's tectonic boundaries. When the salt vanishes, the sudden massive weight reduction causes the ocean floor to rebound upward. This geological decompression destabilizes tectonic fault lines across every single continent. Megathrust earthquakes, surpassing magnitude 9.5, shatter major civilization centers simultaneously. Dormant volcanoes awaken as magma chambers are squeezed by the shifting crust, releasing toxic ash clouds. The sun is completely blotted out by a permanent layer of sulfurous volcanic winter shroud. Displaced ocean floors generate unprecedented global tsunamis, washing away what remains of coastal states. Early warning systems fail as seismic stations are obliterated within the first week of the shift. The geography of our world is forcefully redrawn by the laws of unchecked planetary kinetic energy. Step 5. The permanent global freeze. With the oceans now entirely freshwater, the ice sheet expansion accelerates. Without salt to lower the freezing point, the oceans reflect 70% of solar radiation back into space. The albedo effect triggers a runaway cooling cycle, dropping global temperatures by an average of 30 degrees. Human populations retreat toward the equator, abandoning entire continents to the ice. The global water cycle breaks down completely. Evaporation drops significantly as oceans lock into ice. Freshwater rivers freeze to their very beds, cutting off hydroelectric power generation for surviving sectors. Global agriculture collapses entirely. Crops cannot grow in a sub-zero, oxygen-depleted world. Food supply chains disappear completely within 60 days of the initial anomaly. Governments dissolve into localized military factions, fighting over the remaining thermal resources. The thermometer drops to levels unseen since the cryogenian period, millions of years ago. Civilization as an organized network officially ends. The planet enters the era of the snowball Earth. Time runs out for the technological era of humanity, but a final silent killer is still waiting. The chemical clock completes its cycle, bringing us to the final chilling conclusion of our investigation. Step 6. The permanent structural shift. Without salt, the very chemistry of our clouds alters. Extreme evaporation turns global rainfall highly acidic, corroding the remaining architectural monuments of human history. Unprotected metal structures undergo immediate degradation under the new atmospheric parameters. Sodium and chlorine, now separated, bind with other elements, creating toxic salt deserts on dry land. Giant dust storms travel across frozen continents, carrying toxic chemical sediments into empty cities. From deep orbit, Earth no longer looks like the vibrant blue marble discovered in the 20th century. It transforms into a silent, frozen gray sphere, drifting through the dark void of the solar system. This historical experiment of human civilization officially concludes, deleted by a basic shift in ocean chemistry. A terrifying reminder of how fragile our world truly is. Every element has its strict place. If you want to uncover more forbidden chapters of planetary mechanics, look at the screen right now. Subscribe to the channel. The next investigation is already underway.